Mr. Moshakge Molokwane, you are the National Secretary of an organization called People in Parks. Can you tell us what your organization is all about, what its aims are?
The People in Parks Forum was conceptualized in 2003 during the World Parks Congress, which was held in Durban. Our people protested at the Congress, saying that the use of their lands should not exclude them. These were the people who had been restituted their land rights within protected areas. And then the Department of Environmental Affairs, then called Department of Environmental Affairs, Tourism and Tourism, the director then accepted that they will form the structure, which was then developed, and in 2004, the first national conference was held in Swatini.
What is your constituency? Who would our people be?
Our constituency are the people that live around or adjacent to protected areas, and those people that have been restituted land rights within protected areas. Those are the people we're representing.
These are the ones, am I right, who partially have lost lands which are now in protected areas and which live adjacent to it. And is it in one province only, or throughout South Africa where there are national parks, where there are protected areas?
The South African National Parks was formed in 1926, and their mandate was to build tourism infrastructure basically within protected areas. And to do that, they had to remove some of our people from those lands. And now in the new democracy, people are being given the opportunity to claim their land rights back within those areas. But now, with the memorandum of agreement that was entered into between the then Department of Land Affairs and Department of Environmental Affairs and Tourism, the agreement was that even if people get this land rights restituted to them within protected areas, they will not physically go and occupy the land.
So you have a situation now, am I right, where next to the protected areas, there are communities living who have land rights within the protected areas, but in terms of an agreement, they don't move into those areas, but they have the rights to those areas.
Yes, that's correct.
Are you involved in this whole issue of wildlife protection, you and your organization?
Yes, that's part of our mandates from our people. Because basically, if they are to benefit from protected areas, it is this wildlife that we also need to protect. That's part of biodiversity conservation. And what we do, currently we join hands with the Department of Environmental Affairs to wage campaigns, and particularly the rhino poaching campaign, which we did in Mpumalanga, and we're planning to do it in other areas too.
Is rhino poaching, and for that matter, other poaching of other species, a problem in the areas around the national parks where your communities live?
Yes. You know, when people were removed from their lands, they became, let me use the word, angry. And now they poach as a sort of defiance to the laws that are there. And so we need to conscientize them about the importance of conservation, basically, and how they will benefit from wildlife conservation.
Are you being successful with your persuasion work? Has it had an impact?
Well, like I said, we had this one big campaign joining hands with the department, and we feel we will go there because the Minister for Environmental Affairs, in terms of benefits, has already given the Mdluli community in Mpumalanga 5 rhinos, which is one of the incentives for them to protect wildlife.
So is this the case where the 5 rhinos are situated within the national park, within the protected area, but the community outside that park has indicated that it would do what it can to protect those rhinos? Is that the example?
Yes, partly it is that. Because if these rhinos are kept in the Kruger Park, as it is the situation now, they may, multiply, and at one stage they might decide to sell a few for a particular community project.
This seminar, which you're attending, is entitled Wildlife in Crisis. Do you see it as such? Is wildlife in South Africa in crisis?
Definitely. Poaching has escalated so much that it threatens all the animal species that are there. Our people sometimes, in defiance, let me use that word, they can even, start felt fires within protected areas, and that destroyed all the other animals. And sometimes when people lay their snares, you don't tell the snare that you should catch only the bug. It can catch any animal. Like the leg hold traps, it can catch any animal. So it's just for across the board, all the animals are threatened.
In your assessment, is the poaching problem of a variety of species, is it getting worse, or do you get the impression that the authorities are getting a grip on it?
Our government is doing a lot to try and curb poaching, and moreover, they're networking with other SADC countries. But because poaching basically is done by very, very, very technologically clever syndicates, they sometimes get means to outclass the strategies of government.
If you were to be given 1 hour with the Minister of Environmental Affairs to give her advice on how to turn around this crisis, on how to ensure that the rhino and other species are not driven into extinction, what would you tell her? What, from your point of view, what would be a good strategy?
In the first place, because of the corruption that is prevalent within the department, some officials and even ranchers, and some private wildlife farm owners, private land wildlife farm owners, if a person, because what they do is that they personally themselves kill the rhinos and they cry foul that the rhino has been poached, whereas they've sold the horns themselves. You see. And our people who use these snares, if caught, they must receive long periods of incarceration. And for wildlife farmers, I would even suggest that their farms be expropriated and they never be given permission to own farms in future.
As far as the rhino specifically is concerned, do you have any ideas of how you think the authorities should improve on the current measures? Do you have advice for the minister?
Like I said, there's only one campaign that was conducted in Mpumalanga, and it requires that among our people there must be this orientation that they regard wildlife as part of their natural existence. And if they do that, they will then see the importance of wildlife conservation. And on the other hand, their participation in the management of the protected areas and the benefits that are derived from the use of the thing, the spin-offs from tourism. If they receive that, definitely it will change their mindset in terms of wildlife conservation.